Okay, guys, so welcome back. This is take two. Um, I'm doing an update on the Make Your Own Ghost Man game. And what I've been doing for the past week is trying to figure out the enemy ghost. Because you know that when you play Pac Man, or in this case, Ghost Man, you control your character with the joystick. But that's only one part of the bigger picture because there are enemy ghosts in this game. So there's a lot of different facets that have to come together, and I've changed a few things. So let me run this, and so you can take a look at what I'm talking about here. Now, before I start explaining anything, I want you to know what you're looking at. And so this ghost here that you can see moving around is an invisible ghost. So this is not your character ghost. This is one of the enemy ghosts that will be going through the maze as you try to pick up the pellets. So I have redesigned the maze. What I had wasn't satisfactory, so I looked at actual Pac-Man games from the era, and I didn't make a copy. I made a rendition of what I looked at. So I have the upper part done, so I have to do the lower part in the middle and the sides, and then there'll be a little doorway here to go through, and you go this way and you come out the other side, or vice versa. So I had to think of a logic, a way of getting the computer to think for itself, because the computer is controlling this ghost here. I'm not doing this at all. This is completely computer generated movement, and it was quite difficult. At first, it was easy. I had a brainstorm, but then as it got more involved, I had to tweak it, and you know, as with anything, when you're writing computer programs, it's a process of trial and error, and I have to study, um, you know, what happens and what works and what doesn't work, and rearrange things. And I've never done this before, so it's working pretty well right now. Um, I don't know how smart I am going to actually be able to make the enemy ghost. Right now I'd say he's probably about 25 to 50% smart, in that it can make logical decisions, but it's not as smart as the actual Pac-Man video game. I am just a hobbyist programmer. I have no special training in any area of computers, so this may be the best I can do, but it's functional. It does navigate through the maze by itself. So when it gets into these open areas, it doesn't navigate so well. It navigates better inside of the closed maze area, and this is one reason why the Pac-Man games don't have any big open areas, because this takes a lot to do. And I'm just going to leave it at that for right now. I don't want to bore you, but I changed, not only did I change the shape of the maze, but I changed how I created the maze because the line statements were way too cumbersome. So all of these designs here were made with draw statements. I highly recommend you use it instead when you're doing something like this, because you just start here, and that's all you need is a start point. And as long as you know the intervals, that's all you really need. So it's 100 times easier than using those line statements. So I trashed that. I'm not using that anymore. And what I'm going to do going forward is after I finish designing the maze, I'm going to superimpose the what I had before, what I had written before, on top of this program, because it's going to be a lot easier to do that than to try to rewrite this, which is a lot more complicated, and incorporate that into the original program. So I'm going to take the components of the original program and incorporate them, dump them on top of this program, and I should have a working video game. Alright, it's going to take a while because, I still have to figure out how to incorporate it. I have a pretty good idea of how I'm going to do it. And I think the next video is going to be what you're seeing right now. But I'm going to start making the pellets, because that's going to be time consuming. What I'm going to have to do is get coordinates for each horizontal row, going from the top all the way down to the bottom. And right now I can tell you there's 180 lines, and if I divide that by 12, there's 15 lines. So I'm going to have 15 data lines. Each interval of 12 is going to be another data line going all the way down. And then it's just going to read the data like I showed you in the previous video on drawing with data lines. It will just read the coordinates and assign pellets. And each of these are very different, so there's no way to do it in a batch. You just have to do them one by one. So it'll be pretty easy, except for this top line here, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna transfer this to down here. It might be a little different down here because I noticed in the Pac-Man games it's not identical. So, but anyways, so next time I post, you're probably gonna see pellets, and I made this enemy ghost invisible for a reason. The pellets are all gonna be on the 6-6 P-point axis that I started with, so that you can collect them with your ghost. However, the enemy ghost is being drawn and redrawn, and when he will just step over the pellets. In other words, if he encounters a pellet, he won't pick it up, because his center has no definition. So if he moves to the right and there's a pellet there, he won't pick the pellet up as long as none of his parts touch the pellet. So we don't want the enemy ghost picking up the pellets. So there's a whole slew of things you have to consider if you're trying to make a game like Pac-Man, especially in basic. So it ain't gonna be perfect, but it'll be at least fun to play, hopefully. And I can't think of anything else to really touch on right now. I think that's everything. Now, there's similarities between moving the joystick yourself and the computer moving the joystick. It's not moving a joystick, but you know what I'm saying. We'll pretend the computer is moving a joystick, is a good analogy. So you have to teach the computer how to think, and it's not easy to do. I'm lucky that I was able to accomplish this much. So, unless anybody has any input on this, I'm going to end the video. And, unless anybody has any questions, I'll just be working on, probably tomorrow, I'll be putting the pellets in up to this point here, and then continuing the maze downward until I get to the bottom. There's literally only 15 rows, and I have a good chunk of it already done, but this takes time. I think I did all of this, not these squares, but everything else I think I did today. I think I did this, and then I sat down again and I did this area here. But literally it took over a week just to analyze the enemy ghost and get it to where it was perfect, because there are a whole bunch of problems with it. It's not as easy as you might think. It's an easy concept, but computers are just math machines, basically. If you can't work your way through the math of the actual math that's going on, and you'll have a problem. And also, then you have to take into consideration that there's a programming language, okay? So you have to deal with concept, then design, and then you have to deal with a programming language, and it can be challenging. So that's all I have for you right now, and I'll stop the program here and I'll run it one more time, and we'll watch and see how the ghost makes his way through the maze. And that's about it. Sometimes sometimes he just goes straight down. He's always going to start up in this corner here, which is not really a good spot. When the game's finished, he's going to start around here, and your guy will start underneath him, and then there'll be like a partition right here. So maybe it'll make him a little smarter. There's not a whole heck of a lot I can change to make it any better. At least it works to some degree. There's things that I've thought of that just won't work to try to make it function a little better. But I don't know. I guess that's it for now. So take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.